I got things to do.
So, welcome to this video. So this is my 4 weeks out vlog. A little bit nervous. It's currently actually Friday the 24th, so tomorrow actually marks 3 weeks out. I thought I'd do this video a little bit differently because I've got a couple of free days towards the end of this week. So yesterday and today I've not had as much to do. So I thought it'd be nice to, rather than film a quick recap at the end of every session, just kind of film everything in one go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to post my sessions up for you to see. I'll then talk you through my thoughts and feelings that I had immediately after, and if they changed as the week went on, like now I've watched them back again. So yeah, I'll break up each session for you. And what I'm also going to do is I'll just talk you through kind of like how my weigh-ins have been going and things like that as well. And then at the end, I thought it'd be nice to just sort of talk about my plans for this comp, talk about my goals, why I'm doing it, and like my goals going forwards as well. So yeah, so stick around if that is of any interest to you. So I think the first thing I want to talk through is my weigh-ins from this week. So I started the week off. So Saturday morning I was 85.6, which is fine. So that would have been 4 weeks out to the day, 1.6 kilos over, absolutely fine. Well within gut cut range is what I kind of expected I'd have to do for this one. My calories and stuff I haven't changed. They've been the exact same since probably about, I think, start of January. I haven't actually changed them or dropped them going into this prep or anything. They've just been consistently the same. So Sunday morning I was at 85.4, so a slight drop, just 200 grams, fine. I always drop more at the weekends anyway, just because my sleep is a lot better. Typically during the week I don't get anywhere near as much sleep, so I retain a lot more water and things, so I tend to weigh anywhere from half a kilo to a kilo heavier during the week. That's just normal for me, which is why typically I don't really bother weighing myself during the week as much. But yes, then I didn't weigh myself again until Thursday, and then I was 85 on the dot Thursday, so that was today's Friday, so that was yesterday. And then I kind of expected I would see an 84 over the next few days, and I woke up this morning at 84.6. So although I'm not purposefully trying to necessarily cut to 84 for this comp, I was more than happy to just do a little gut cut or a mini water load or whatever I felt like I wanted to do nearer the time. But looking at this, I'm 3 weeks out tomorrow and I'm only 600 grams over, so I'd be very surprised if I don't just naturally fall in the 84s, which is a big relief for me because I always used to, when I was a junior, when I competed the 72, I always used to just diet down to my weight category, and I found that actually worked best for me. I just do a slow and steady cut into my comps. But since I've been an 84, especially over the last year, I've really struggled to actually diet down to under 84. My body just seems to hold on to a lot more, and my body seems to be more comfortable in the 86 to 87 range. But for some reason, for this comp, my weight has just fallen off. So I'm really, really happy. Like I say, my calories are plenty for me to recover on. I mean, they're not overly high, but my calories are never overly high. I think they're just over 2,000 at the moment. It works out as when you break my macros down. So I can recover on that. I can fuel my sessions on that. I'm pretty happy on that, and my weight is still coming down, so that's really nice. So 84.6 as of today. I will probably see a lower number over the next couple of days, but who knows. But I'm fairly confident now that I will easily make weight without even having to worry about a gut cut or anything. If I just keep tracking, just keep doing what I'm doing, which I do year round anyway. I've literally got to change nothing when it comes to my diet, so that's really good. Now let's take a look at Saturday's session, and then I will talk you through how it went.
Yeah, wait. Just wait. They claim they want beef like I ain't in it teed up. I turn them to vegan, I'm really a creature. She sent me the beacon, I beat it and flee it. They talk like these niggas won't beat me, they can't. I'm somewhere tucked off, I'm laid in the shade and I'm counting mine. Still ain't made it, I'm jaded, my latest, my greatest. I ain't ever caving, they see me, I'm him, I'm a gym in the soil, it's about the time. I've been after mine, I'm one with the culture, they more like a gimmick. I'm pushing the needle, I'm leaving the key in, it's running on meter. I want me a boy and I need him to see me. Yeah, I know it's my season, my family the reason I be who I'm being. Solid. Lately I pushing the needle forward to the people that knew me and traded sides. I'm up now, don't hit me to make it right. I'm at a dole, I've been taking mines. Get scared of the heights that I'm reaching for. Don't even know what you're reaching towards. Don't even know what you're reaching for. I really went from wearing rags on me to his racks on me. First class, they ain't got a pat on me. Let the chain dangle, bitch, I'm raiding the mainframe. Turn my pain into paint on the canvas. I been a head case, Ben Frank only right, I get Ben Franklin. Burn 2 ends of the candle. Won't be the first one, get rich in my family. They don't understand me, I used to be nice guy. Till the world told me cold, now my guard up, I'm far. Don't trust nobody, now she never did want me. She talking real naughty now, I I'm off the cloud and it's I'm real rowdy, I'm going off. Had no chances, I do not answer to anybody. Amped up, put my stamp on the canvas, I'm ramped up. Me, my dog, just with tandem, I do this for life. They just post for the camera, they scrambling, they not me, they rambling. I want me a mansion, I know it's my season, I'm go to the stanza. I'm somewhere tucked off, I'm late in the shade and I'm counting mine. Still ain't made it, I'm jaded, my latest, my greatest. I'm solid. Lately I pushing the needle forward to the people that knew me and traded sides. I'm up now, don't hit me to make it right. I'm at it, dole up and taking mines. Get scared of the heights that I'm reaching for. Don't even know what you're reaching towards. Don't even know what you're reaching for. They loud in their feelings, they barking these riddles. Already told you, won't find no one realer. I go from me cool to the top of your list. Turn this to a crib and a whip with a tent on it. Phone been on silent, I been on my shit. Whole globe on the fritz, I ball up my fist. Part of my glitz, take a part of me sick with it like it's 06. Going dumb in the sticks on a bitch real quick. Fresh when I dress, take a look at my stitch. Think I lost my sense. Wood to the neck, I've been acting real different. Know I'm at your neck, I won't loosen my grip. Out in that stress, take a toll on my I've been on deck, let me save my peace, let me talk my Look, I'm so red at the flare, make you squint. I've been on edge, I've been living too quick. I can't get to sleep, knowing it's all in my reach. Know I've been living too fast. Look in my eyes and don't blink.
Promise I ain't ever traded sides. Know that I'm not out here living right.
Crazy that we made it through.
Pray that you find what you're looking for.
Don't shrink for all the people that you're leaving behind. Grow because there are people who are waiting on you.
The beauty of my own story is that I allow me to define myself.
Okay, so I don't really feel like there's tons to report on from that session. Everything moves as it should. Everything was fine. Nothing was too heavy. My 105 bench is probably the main thing I want to address because I keep misgreaving my top sets. Someone I train with pointed out to me that my last warm-up at 100 always moves like air, always feels like air, but I don't set up quite as much. Like I don't set up quite as tightly as I do for my top singles. And it's almost like I'm over setting up for my top singles because I think in my head I have to get it perfect. I then overthink it. I seem to get a slightly higher arch for my top singles, which then changes where my bar path and stuff, and my pressing point, my touch point on my chest then changes, and that definitely messes up my top singles. So that's probably the only thing I'm not overly happy with from that session was my 105 bench. But it was still a decent press. At comp, I'm not really expecting to get above 105, maybe 107 at a push. So if I can just consistently hit 105 now each week and just make it better and get more comfortable with those top singles, this is actually the reason why I've added in 5x1 on my Tuesday session, is just to get more practice with top singles. So that's the only thing I probably wasn't overly happy with. My squat singles, absolutely fine, 165, felt a lot lighter on my back than last week. My rep work was pretty comfortable. You might notice if you watch the full sets and stuff, on my last rep of any of my rep work, it never looks nice. I think mentally I focus on every single rep until I get to the last rep of my set. No matter what my RP, no matter what rep range I'm doing, no matter what movement it is, the last rep will never move as well. And I think that's a psychological thing where I know I can sandbag through a rep. I can just muscle through it, not really care. And I think by the time I get to the end of a set, I kind of just switch off, and that's what happens, which is a really bad habit to be in, and it's something I really do need to work on. But generally though, all of my rep work moved well. Especially like squats I was really happy with. My 2x10 at 115 felt really comfortable, a lot easier than I thought it would. I definitely slowed it down compared to normal, and I think that's a little bit of a key for high rep work. You have to just take it one rep at a time. Don't try and rush through it because then you will get more out of breath, your positioning will be off, and it just won't execute anywhere near as well. Where if you just take your time, reset a little bit between each rep, it's gonna move better. So yeah, my top single or my 3 singles on squat, absolutely fine. My 6s, comfortable, fine, not a problem. And then my 10s, just routine. I'm literally just keeping the 10s in to keep that work capacity up, and so that when it comes to my like training after comp, I can go back to higher rep work because I respond really well to high rep work, and it won't be a case of having to spend a few weeks getting used to the higher reps. Like I'll already be used to it. I can just go straight in and start pushing those. My bench single, always mess up my bench singles, that's fine. My 4x3 at 97, I was actually really, really happy with. I haven't repped 97.5 in a long time. Before Christmas, I ended up with COVID straight into a chest infection, and it completely wrote me off. I think I had 2 full weeks of no training at all. Just before I got COVID, I could tell I was coming down with something, because I started to feel like I couldn't set up properly for bench. Like my leg drive and stuff just sort of disappeared, and I haven't really had it back since then. And I think this was the first session where I felt like my bench was coming back. My best rep work before COVID was 5s at 100, and although it's only 3s at 97.5, they definitely felt comfortable. There was definitely a bit more in the tank. So I'm hoping that's a sign that my bench is coming back, but we'll see. Not going to try and jinx it. And then deadlift single as well. So my 180 single, it didn't actually move any faster than last week's, really, if you put the two side by side. But it felt so comfortable. It felt so easy. I'm definitely just not used to having that weight in my hands with deadlifts. Normally I only had deadlift singles in for a comp, and it's only for like 4 or 5 weeks beforehand, and that has worked quite well for me up until this point. But now that I'm kind of prioritising deadlift a bit more and my deadlift is going up, I have noticed that when I then introduce singles, it's such a shock to my body having that extra weight. So what I mean by that is, so my best rep work on deadlift before I re-added singles in was 6s at 150, I think, or maybe, yeah, it was 150 or 152.5 for 6s. So although it was 6 reps and it was, you know, a decent weight for 6 reps, or at least by my standard at the moment, to go from that to trying to pull 180 with not much in between and never really feeling the weights in between, that's a lot. And that's why last week when I did the 180, I was sure I just freaked out. So what I think I'll do after comps is I'll keep deadlift singles in for a bit longer and just try and get used to that heavy weight in my hand. I might even try things like block pulls, just kind of for a bit of fun. Like, I'm not planning on competing again for probably majority of the year after this one, but we'll talk about that more at the end. So yeah, my deadlift single I was happy with. There's definitely a lot more room for me to pull there. Back off work all felt really comfortable. I wanted to do 170 for my doubles, but I spoke to one of the girls I train with. She's the person that's handling me at comp, and we both kind of agreed there's no point. Like, I might as well stick to 165, and then this next week, if it feels good, go the 170 for doubles. So that's absolutely fine. I'm really bad for trying to stay in the pocket, and this prep I'm working really hard to fix that, because that's definitely where I've gone wrong in the past. So yeah, the whole session was good. There's a few learning points to take away from it that I'll definitely implement after this comp. But yeah, overall really happy with that session. So now let's take a look at Tuesday's session.
There's nothing in this world more primal than my love for you. If you meet somebody else that's a rival, that much is true. Yeah, I know you said, baby, this is final, and I blame myself. All that's left of me now is an animal, and I cry for help. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you out. Let it go, let it go, let it go, till I get you alone. I can't help but howl like a wolf, howl like a wolf. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you. I will howl like a wolf, baby, I will howl like a wolf. When the sun fades, when the night awaits, I'll be howling and howling and howling for you, babe. Can't keep my pain quiet any longer. Gotta let it out. Are you anywhere near? So I wonder, can you hear me now? I know it ain't over till it's over, 'cause I'm still alive. If only you'd come a bit closer, maybe I'll survive. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you out. Let it go, let it go, let it go, till I get you alone. I can't help
Okay, so Tuesday's session wasn't great. It was the worst session I have had in months. So, bar when I was ill last Christmas time, I haven't probably had a bad session, just a generally bad session, since probably before September time, I think. Something in September sort of just clicked mentally for me, and ever since, all of my sessions I have just gone in and executed, made no excuses, just got them done. And Tuesday, I just really struggled with that. I think mentally I wasn't fully zoned in on the session. My first few sets of squats were absolutely fine, to be honest. I think it was maybe set 4 or 5 where it started to go downhill. So I did 6 in total. My last set was, I've put that video in on purpose because I want people to see, like, I misgrooved my second rep. So my left foot turned in, which is why my left leg massively turned in as well during the second rep of my last set. And then I stopped at the top for a moment. And I just kind of, internally, I was just saying to myself, that was a misgroove. You have this last rep. Just get it done. And it was the last rep of, like, I'm never going to quit out on the last rep of a session. Like, what's the point? If you've made it that far, you might as well just do one more. So I did the last rep, and I mean, there's positives to take away from it. It was a massive grind. It was one of the slowest squats I've done in a long time. Definitely not the slowest squat I've ever done. Like, I can probably grind more than that still. It was nice to know that I can still grind a rep out though, even with this narrower stance, because that's the first time I've had to grind a rep with this narrow stance, or fully grind a rep with this narrow stance. But yeah, it didn't move well. It was an overshoot, and I'm a bit annoyed about it. But then I also think, for myself and my own training, overshooting's never been much of a problem because I recover really well from high intensity, and it's not something that's ever set me back. So I kept my deadlifts lighter on purpose later in the session to kind of account for some of that. And I also have, from a Tuesday, I don't squat again until the Saturday. So I have plenty of time to kind of recover and get through that. So I'm not really too upset about it. I think the main thing that annoyed me with this session was my bench singles. Everything just felt so much harder than it should have. It could well just be because of the fact that I obviously overshot my squats, I was more fatigued. But it's just one of those things. I mean, I can still grind out 105 on a bad bench day. And as I said earlier in the video, the most I'm expecting to bench is probably 107 at a push at comp. So even if if I'm having a bad bench day, if I can still do 105, brilliant. Like, I can't really be too upset. I think I'm taking a really laid back approach to this session being bad because it was the first bad one I've had in a long time. And fatigue is starting to build, so that can also obviously have a factor. I also failed my last rep on my second set of Larson at 85. Again, I think I just didn't take it seriously enough. I didn't focus enough because the first set moved like a dream. The first 4 reps of the second set were absolutely fine. It was just that last rep. But then I dropped down to 80. And I know 5 kilos on bench can be quite a big jump, especially for a woman. But quite frankly, the 80 for 5 that I did for my last set when I dropped the weight was too easy. Like, considering I failed the last rep on the 85, I don't understand how it could be that much of a difference. Like, I didn't really take the 80 seriously. I just went through it and it was so easy. So I think my main takeaway from this session is I just have to have that mental toughness. Like, even on a bad day, I need to learn to just mentally switch on, which 99% of the time I am really good at. It was just a bad day for it. But then, to be fair, by the time I watched deadlifts, I did my 4x3 pause deadlifts in about 15 minutes. I just shoved my headphones in, I didn't talk to anyone, and I just got those done because I just wanted to get my session over with. So that was really good, and my pauses were definitely a bit stricter than normal. So, I mean, the session ended well. It's just a few, again, learning points for the session. Nothing really to be too upset about, though. Like, I still got the work done. It doesn't really matter. None of that is going to affect my progress towards comp. If it just means I have to go a little bit lighter on Saturday, possibly, then I will. But to be honest, I think by the time Saturday gets around, it won't have an impact on my session at all. I recover really well usually from that. So we'll just see what happens. I'm just going to play it by ear, go by how things feel, and go from there. So yeah, and then we'll just quickly see what I did for my closer grip bench day, and then I'll report back on that. And then I'll just talk you through what my kind of goals are for this comp.
If you rockin' with it, put your hands up. This the anthem. If you get up and get it, put your hands up. This the anthem. If If you rockin' with it, put your hands up. Yeah, this the anthem. If you...
Okay, so my 5x5 closer grip went really well. So my reps are slightly lower than last week. I've got an extra set. 90 kilos for all 5 sets, moved like a dream. So I'm really happy with that. And then I did my accessories after. I'm really happy with how that went. It's a really good way to end the week, especially because like bench felt so bad Tuesday. The fact that the next day it felt that good still, it just reminds me that Tuesday was just a bad day. There's nothing to be upset about. I've taken away some learning points from it, and I'm just gonna kind of forget about it and move on, which is the best thing you can do when you have a bad session. So yeah, that's really good. Finishing the week on a good note, I think. Body weight is a lot lighter than I expected it to be, and I don't think it's gonna have any impact on my training. In fact, I'm that little bit lighter at all, so I'm just gonna keep kind of going. Obviously I'm gonna film the next week of training so you can see. So tomorrow marks 3 weeks out. And yeah, I'm still feeling good. So I had another sports massage on Monday, so all like my back and stuff feels a lot better now. I haven't really noticed my niggle anymore, like my crampy pain that I've been getting. So I think everything is kind of coming together just in time, hopefully. Don't want to jinx it. I know roughly what numbers I'm expecting to hit now, but I'm not going to share them on here, just so I want to keep those kind of to myself. But yeah, my main goal, I guess, with this comp is just to get back to a national comp. I've never had a problem qualifying for national comps at all, but basically because I had such a long time off, I got injured just before COVID, about 6 months before lockdown happened, and then afterwards it was just really difficult for me to get back into training, to be honest. And I kind of thought I fell too far behind to be good anymore. And I don't think you should only powerlift for the purpose of being good. Like, there's so many other benefits to it. It's just such a fun sport. But I'm such a competitive person that if I don't think there's any chance of me ever getting to a decent level, I'm not going to put all of my time into it, which is definitely not something I would maybe advocate for most people, but that's just how I am. Like, I'm a very competitive person. But I also know at the moment I'm not competitive, so I'm just basically plodding along until this comp. I said plodding along, that sounds really bad. This comp, I just want to know where I'm at. I want to know, I've improved a hell of a lot in the last year as it is. I'd like to have a number to signify that with. My first comp back post everything was the start of February 2021. So this is March 2021. My first comp back was February 2022. So this is March 23. It gives me a good indicator as to how much I've improved in the last year. And to be honest, after this comp, it's just going to be head down and work like crazy to get closer to where I want to be, to get myself to a more competitive level. It'll probably take me a couple of years to get to where I want to be, but that's fine. I've got the time. I'm going to do it. I rambled way too much in that video, so I decided to cut it short and save you all from even more of my voice. There's been a lot of talking in this video. I hope it's been okay to watch. There'll be less in the next one, don't worry. So yeah, tomorrow marks 3 weeks out. My body weight is where I needed to be. Everything's going well. If you've made it this far, thank you. And if you're going to watch the next video, I will see you next week.